The House Oversight and Reform Committee has released memos this week showing that Donald Trump's administration wanted to add the citizenship question to the 2020 census in order to use that information to help Republicans gerrymander and pick up a couple more seats following the 2020 census. Now, it's important to remember that this citizenship question did not, in fact, make it onto the census. Even John Roberts, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, struck it down. He actually wrote the majority opinion saying, sorry, this isn't going to fly. But these new memos that have been released by the House Oversight and Reform Committee not just expose what was really behind the citizenship question, something we had all long assumed, but it also shows that former Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross very clearly, based on what we have now, lied under oath to Congress. See, this is actually a pretty massive story here, folks. And unfortunately, it kind of popped yesterday and then disappeared already, right? 24 hours later, nobody gives a damn about it anymore. And that, to me, is one of the most frustrating parts of this article. We have the memos from lawyers working with the Commerce Department under Wilbur Ross. And what they said, one of these lawyers, Utmeyer, what he did, he wrote these memos, Utmeyer did, and he sends them over to the folks at the Commerce Department telling them, listen, you can't put this question on there, right? This is likely unconstitutional. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. That's what Utmeyer's memos were telling folks at the Commerce Department. But then suddenly he caved and he said, all right, fine, you know what, put it in. Let's just do it. And of course, in those memos, it also explains we need to do this to help get the Republicans the extra seats. But Wilbur Ross, a little while back, had testified before Congress that, listen, we were only putting the citizenship question there, based on a report that we had produced, showing, of course, that, we just need to make sure that we count everybody. But now we have the memo showing they only wanted the citizenship question so that they could gerrymander and give Republicans a couple more seats, which of course directly contradicts Wilbur Ross's testimony to Congress, which to me looks a hell of a lot like lying under oath. So will we ever get criminal charges against Wilbur Ross? Probably not. As I said, everybody's already moved on from this story and it's been out for 24 hours. Nobody cares anymore. Right? We have the former Commerce Secretary of the United States under Donald Trump, in my opinion, clearly lying under oath. We have the memos to back it up, memos to prove it, right? We've got the evidence. We could have a very real trial here, right? Let Wilbur Ross have his defense. If he can prove that he didn't know about the memos, then, totally innocent, he didn't lie. But I don't think he can because all of his people were involved with these memos to the point where one of them even drafted the order that Wilbur Ross used to cite the report to justify putting the citizenship question in the census. This whole thing stinks to high heaven, but again, nobody seems to care about it. So I seriously doubt that Wilbur Ross is going to face any form of justice for what he did here.
This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.